Angie Lamar and the ladies. Stay listening. Like wine, it just gets better.
This is your night tonight and everything's going to be all right. You're listening to Angie Lamar and the ladies for our monthly update show. And do we have a show for you today? How you doing, JK?
I'm good, Angela. it's just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I.
That's right. We can make it if we try, but we're not trying today. We're just going to succeed.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a great show. We're here once a month, and as I journey into Harlesden, and I like the journey because of the sightseeing and the things I get to see, and the traffic. I love the traffic. I love the area as it changes as I go through Holland Park, and I get to Ladbroke Grove, and I get to Harlesden. I think, wow, the culture changes on the journey, but it's worth being here.
Absolutely.
This evening, because we do have a great show lined up for you. I mean, it's been a great month. There's so much to celebrate, and we're going to be celebrating this show tonight, aren't we? Because we should celebrate.
It's Black History Month.
Black History Month, and it's also this week was my birthday, Kaylee. It's my birthday, so I know. I saw the rapping outside. It's to me, isn't it? I can't wait. I can't wait. She's like, oh no.
I'm now thinking no.
So we're going to be celebrating Black History Month and kind of like going out in a bang because, you know, there's a lot to celebrate when it comes to Black History, Jack.
This is one of the months that I really go for it when it comes to looking at the journey where our parents, our ancestors, the journey they paved for us, and the fact that we have to be in gratitude and we must celebrate all what we have achieved.
Because we stand on great shoulders.
Oh, great.
And sometimes people, you know, I hear people saying, oh, I don't celebrate Black History Month, or they'll say Black History Month is every month, and I think, listen, shut up. Don't say that, because you're not going to celebrate it in April and you're not going to celebrate it in September. We've got a month, and this is 30 years of Black History Month celebration. So that's 30 years of celebrating in the UK, recognising our history and where we're coming from, and to remind us where we can go.
Absolutely. And if we can celebrate Halloween and Valentine's, we can celebrate Black History.
Not celebrating Halloween.
Well.
You celebrate Halloween.
No, I don't. I don't get it.
No, I don't get the
No, I don't get it.
I mean, you come around my house, bother me.
I don't get it.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Can we have some sweets? Where are your parents? Where are your parents? It's too dark. Go home.
No, I do give them sweets.
Do you give them sweets?
I'll give them sweets, but I'm just not into it. I was into Guy Fawkes Bonfire Night, but I'm just not into Halloween. It wasn't our thing.
No, Halloween. My mum, I grew up in the church. You can't say Halloween to my mum. My mum said, what Halloween? No demon, no weapon formed against us. And she'll start to repeat the Bible. So I wasn't celebrating that. So that's good. So we're going to be celebrating, my birthday was this week as well. I am 52 years old.
Oh.
And I like saying my age.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I think we should sing happy birthday on air a bit later when the man them come.
Yeah, so we can have some baritone.
Yes.
Happy birthday. So we do have a great show lined up. As you know, Jackie and Jasmine can be with us this month. But we say hi to the ladies out there. They're listening in their busy schedule of where they are. And, we can be committed. You guys can be committed. You get in next month. But also as well, we're gonna have the men in the studio today, which is going to be wonderful because we do want the balance, don't we?
Yes, and also I was told once, great show, what about the men?
Yeah, so men, we've brought the men in tonight.
We've listened.
Ladies, it's always good to bring the men in.
Now and again.
But as we're celebrating Black History Month, this month we had the 2017 Power List. Woohoo! I saw your name up in the jacket. I saw, I was writing my name down there as well. I said, I'm on the Power List somewhere, even if I write it myself.
Even if you just pretend and felt it. Hey, listen, it's the Oscars of the awards. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
It's the Oscars of the Black Achievement Awards. And it's great. So it'd be lovely for us to actually go through some of the award winners and see, and it's great because we're going
to be speaking to Dr. Grace Ononiwu.
Oh, OBE.
OBE. I mean, so many letters.
I know.
Doctor at the beginning, OBE at the end. I mean, it's just fantastic. She's on the Power List.
I'm going to be on my best behaviour.
Yes, so we're going to be speaking to her online, and all we're going to be talking to her about is, how do you come from Leytonstone, East London, and become the CPS, Chief Crime Prosecutor of the West Midlands.
Wow.
Heavyweight. heavyweight.
Mover and shaker.
Shaking. And so also we're going to be talking to, if you watch The Chase, do you watch The Chase?
Well, listen, I haven't got much choice. My mum is The Chase fan.
Oh, really?
Linda is positioned waiting for The Chase to start.
So we've got Shaun Wallace from The Chase joining us in the studio from 8 o'clock. We also have actor, filmmaker, producer, all the list goes on when it comes to the arts. Treva Etienne will be joining us. Now, Treva Etienne, you will have seen him on The Sky, Falling Skies. If you go back into the 80s, you remember London's Burning.
Yes.
You remember, oh gosh, so many. We're going to be listing it down in the list of the things that he's done. Wonderful achievement. Went off to live in Hollywood. But what's wonderful is that he was born in Harlesden.
I know.
So we're doing Harlesden to Hollywood.
I know, it's great. And, well, apart from Ange, everybody, but we'll welcome you. We'll adopt you into the Brent area.
The Brent. Thanks for bringing me into the Brent.
The Brent area. We've got Shaun from Brent, we've got Treva from Brent, and we've got Jackie G. Michaels from Brent.
And you guys are from Brent. All the ladies are from Brent.
Yeah,
So, hey,
we love it.
I'm holding on to South, okay?
Oh, that's okay. We brought you into our fold.
Okay, thank you very much. When we come back, we're going to be going through the papers to find out what happened this month. There's so much to be talking about. Lots to go through for the update for the month. And then we'll be speaking to Dr. Grace Ononiwu from OBE at around about 7:45 just to find out her success story. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to open the doors to the men. They're going to come running through and we're going to go sit down and calm yourself down.
Yes.
And we're going to open the lines as well later on in the show, because maybe there's a question you would like to ask some of these successful people, which is, how did you do that? How do you keep focused? How do you keep inspired? That's what we're going to be opening the lines up. And also we've got a giveaway as well, because I'm not a selfish person. I've got a show that's out in December called Take Me Back, Gospel Musical. I have a pair of tickets that's nearly sold out already. I have a pair of tickets to give away and a signed copy of my book.
Ooh.
Why not? And the number that you will call in for us today later is 0208 963 9566. Double six, the six is hidden. All right. You listen to Angie Lamar and the ladies, which is Jackie G. Michaels.
Angie Lamar on The Beat London, 103.6 FM.
You listen to Angela Marr on The Beat radio station. We are with you until 10 o'clock and we're talking about what's been going on throughout the month, and so many things have been happening, and you sometimes think the news every day is changing. So we pulled up a few things that we think that we would like to talk about on the show, and one of them is Nivea and Dove.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, sometimes you just think you can't write it anymore.
I know, because I was wondering, is this a marketing gimmick, or is this that they're just out of touch? Maybe we just need to refresh everyone's mind what happened.
Yes, go ahead.
So there was an advert, a Facebook advert that came out, and you had, first of all, a black lady, a young lady, taking off her jumper, and when she took off her jumper, she then appeared to be a white girl with ginger hair. The white girl then pulled off her jumper and appeared to be an Asian lady. Now, they said that this was to illustrate diversity and oneness. However, what it suggested was, soap, removing your clothes. There's a suggestion that
you've gone from dirty to clean, and that's black to white.
Yes. And colorism, we've got a huge issue with colorism, i.e. darker is not seen as good as being lighter. So the question was, who was in the room discussing and reviewing these adverts? That's what I don't understand. It's like, are you completely out of touch? And I think it's quite sad, because I know maybe their intentions were not that, and they have apologised. First of all, they said, we missed the mark, and Twitter came down. Ava DuVernay said, missed the mark? Excuse me? You more than missed the mark. And then they apologised profusely. Because what it is with Dove, they've been doing this thing about women of different sizes. They've been doing this thing about confidence. So it felt as if we had gone back to the time when they had an advert in 2011, and it was basically saying that the advert came out and it said like visibly lighter.
Yeah.
And it was a black woman standing behind a board which showed her to be darker, and the white woman was behind a board which showed her to be lighter. And let me just get, the strap line was visibly more beautiful skin. and it gave this impression, and they once again apologise, and it feels as if, excuse me, haven't you learned?
But in these companies now, do they not have a diversity section where they say, okay, let's just run it by some people from the diverse community to say, what do you think of that? Do you think that will work? Or maybe they think, this is clever, because if you look at some of the adverts for the Dove, it was the black woman to white, but there was an Asian woman and there was another race as well. I'm not quite sure, but I think there was 4. And somebody said, well, they were just showing different women who used Dove taking off their clothes, and because you wanted to project that it was from black to white, so there will be an uproar. Is there an argument for that too?
I think that I really understand the idea of, and there have been lots of videos which show different people going from different races and changing their faces, and I get that we're one. But when we're talking about soap, when we're talking about the fact that it's about being cleaner,
you've got it in China, didn't they?
Yeah.
When they put the black guy in the washing machine
and it comes out white.
And it comes out white. It's like, oh really?
Yeah. What? So it feels as if, and people may say, hey, we're being too sensitive, but we've got to understand as well that one, this is Black History Month. 2, maybe we are sensitive.
And we have a right to be sensitive, because really what you're saying is something that we're constantly fighting against.
Yeah.
And if you keep saying, okay, to be whiter is better,
Yes.
Bleaching cream in the Caribbean, in Africa is high.
Yeah.
So there's a self-esteem problem that we've already got.
Exactly.
That we keep trying to address, keep trying to sort out, and all of a sudden this advert says, hey!
And then, oh gosh, I think the classic one was Nivea. That billboard in Africa, I'm sorry. It clearly said, visibly fairer skin.
And what's the problem that I have with that? Because somebody pointed out to me, but in Africa they're actually bleaching their skin like standard. A lot of them are bleaching, a lot of the ladies and men are bleaching their skins, and I've seen it in Jamaica as well. And they said, well, what's the problem with Nivea doing it? And the problem with that is that a lot of these creams are not listed and against the law because of what they contain. And some of them can cause cancer and have caused cancer. So they're under the table when you go to the shops.
Yeah.
But Nivea is not under the table. This is on the shelf. You can actually purchase this. So therefore it is dangerous for us to be saying you are visibly clearer and lighter and you should now be happier.
Yeah.
Which is a big problem. So when people started to go against it, I actually wrote to Dove, because it's all very well repeating and going, this is really wrong, this is whatever. I wrote to them and said, listen, I am upset by this. This is disgusting. You've not only missed the mark, but you've been insensitive, and I don't think I can buy Dove anymore, and this is unacceptable behaviour. And they wrote me back a letter saying, we're really sorry if we have offended you. And so they've gone through all of that, but I'm going to try a different soap.
Yeah.
Because we've got to start getting people financially in the pocket, as opposed to retweeting it, being vexed, and then going back to buy it.
Yeah. And the thing as well is that I want people like Nivea and Dove to know that there are some black people who want to be visibly darker. There's a whole lot of black people that go out and get suntanned and are waiting to be out there in the sun. When it's not that we're saying we want to be light. No, not everybody says that. So they're missing the mark that there are some people out there that want to be visibly darker. Hashtag Jackie G. Michaels.
And Angie, already dark. So we're good, yeah?
Yeah.
We just want to wash our skin. We don't want to wash away the colour.
No.
Come on. And I really I appreciate when I see the variation of models that are black and dark, and then you've got the light, and then you've got the in between, because we're not trying to do one is better than the other.
Exactly.
We have to embrace, and we're going to be speaking about Rihanna later because she done smashed it out the park. Now everybody's going, oh my god, I'm going to get some dark foundation.
I love Rihanna. She's
come on.
so fierce.
When we come back, we're going to be talking about Rihanna. We're also going to be talking about this dangerous man that's one of the biggest producers Hollywood has not ever had, but he is up there. And some of the stories that have come out in the last couple of weeks has just been so concerning. And you know, my biggest concern for Harvey Weinstein is that I don't know why he's not arrested yet. If those claims are out about him, why has he not been arrested yet?
I don't know, the amount of publicity. It's horrifying. It's so horrifying, but there's a reason for it. But there's so many things we can talk about on this subject. I can't wait. Let me just hold myself back.
When we come back, we're going in. So if you want to contribute to the conversation, you maybe want to give us a call, 0208 963 9566.
Angie Lamar and the ladies. Stay listening. Like wine, it just gets better.
You listen to Angie Lamar on The Beat with the one and only Jackie G. Michaels. Woo, woo, woo. And we're having a wonderful show tonight. It is our Black History Month celebration.
Yes, it
and we're
is.
celebrating coming to the end of Black History Month and feeling so proud to stand on wonderful shoulders. And we want to acknowledge our ancestors and say thank you so much for everything that you've done, everything that you've gone through. And we salute you on the show today. So we want to thank you. And we got Angie Stone to start that off.
Yes.
And also coming up on the show, we're going to be having the men in the studio tonight. And I think, we want to celebrate. Although it's ladies and we're in here with our updates once a month, we do want to celebrate men because we can't do this by ourselves. And there's two special men that are going to be joining us today. Shaun Wallace from The Chase on ITV will be joining us. Everybody loves that show. When I watch him, I just think to myself, how do you know all of this? I mean, did you see him on Mastermind?
He's so bright.
I mean, really bright.
He's so bright. I don't get it. Because when we used to go raving together,
I used to rave?
Yeah, I used to see Shaun at parties. He weren't quoting anything. He wasn't. No, he was raving.
Between the scrubbing, he was taking the book going, oh, let me just read this quickly. Oh my God, did you know that?
No, I don't understand where it came from, but we'll find out later.
I just love watching him. I think to myself, gosh, how did you know that? I mean, how many books do you have to read to get that? That's why the power is in reading.
Okay, well, my mum is the biggest fan. Now, Shaun is a part of our family.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's on my mum's dining room table.
Oh, that's the picture.
She has a picture of Shaun.
Is it that serious?
No, it's serious. She's got it positioned. Shaun is on our table.
Oh gosh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
We'll wait to share that with him later. And so we're going to find out, what it is and how, I think Shaun used to be a barrister as well. And so from where he's gone from there to top #1 TV show on ITV, answering those questions, Mastermind, it's just so, you feel so proud. And also we have Treva Etienne, who is from Harlesden himself and now is in Hollywood. So we're going to be talking about how you go from Harlesden to Hollywood. Hey. So it's a great show. We're going to be opening the lines as well because maybe you're an actor, maybe you want to get on television, maybe there's questions that you want to raise and talk to us. We're going to open the lines from 9 o'clock. The number to call is 0208 963 9566. Also as well, we can do the WhatsApp as well. We can open the WhatsApp 07983 986 224. And if you want to WhatsApp us and ask a question, we can do that too. At 8 o'clock, we're going to be speaking to Dr. Grace Ononiwu, OBE. She is on the power list, powerhouse. It's great that you meet women who are doing wonderful things and just getting up there. It was Gina Miller who topped the list at #1.
Yes, she topped it because she wasn't messing. Gina wasn't messing, and we can talk about that more. But Gina just said, "Excuse me, Brexit. I'm standing in, and I don't listen. I want to mess things up." Yeah. And she messed it up. And they keep saying, "Oh my God, this lady from Guyana came in and messed things up." We like her, fierce women. Fierce.
We're going to be talking about fierce women. But before we go, let's talk about Harvey Weinstein and exactly what just erupted over the last couple of weeks.
It's crazy. It's like all of a sudden, so the thing is, I think what we're hearing is this isn't anything new. It's commonplace that there is sexual harassment. It's epidemic within the
Hollywood.
In Hollywood. And if you want to move up the ladder, you may have to do X, Y, Z. But this has got so big because you've got some big names: Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelina Jolie. There's some big names, and they've come out and said, "Excuse me, this man has been sexually harassing people for years." And then his PA had a non-disclosure agreement, therefore she wasn't able to even speak about her harassment. So there's so much cover-up, and people are coming out.
But this is over 20 women in the last 2-3 weeks that have just said, he harassed me too, he done this, he done that. And these are names that are getting through and, voices that are being heard because of their status. Now, could you imagine all the other women who perhaps didn't become successful who just went by the wayside.
Oh, you know what? There was something that I've got to give Jane Fonda her kudos. Jane Fonda came out and said that yes, this is something that's been happening. We all knew about it. This is the tipping point. But she also said this, and this is what everyone was thinking. There are many black women who have been sexually harassed and they're ignored. Yeah. And Jane Fonda said, let's also remember them.
Yeah, but
and she's also saying that, and it's the only reason why it's making it in the public eye is because it's white influential women.
But also as well because what the point that she was making as well is that you have not Jane. I think the women around that discussion about what Jane Fonda was saying was that you have someone like R. Kelly. And people who have been complaining consistently about the sexual harassment allegedly around R. Kelly, and yet nobody's hearing their voices because it's black women saying that, and so therefore it's not important. Yeah. And we have lots of cases like that whereby when black women speak out about harassment, even the actress who spoke about Harvey,
Lupita Nyong'o, when she spoke about it, she did a long essay in the New York Times, and it was eloquently written. And he said, no, I didn't do that one.
He came out of the place to say, listen,
no, not that one.
All the other accusations that are going through, not saying nothing. But this black actress comes and says something and go,
no, not me.
I don't do black. I mean, really, on so many levels, why is that not something that makes people just go, okay, this thing needs to be opened up? The lady who created the Me Too,
yes.
the hashtag that is going around now saying, I too have been abused, me too, I've gone through it. There's so many women right now, and the line that we're trying to work out is, when is it sexual harassment? When you're not comfortable with a situation. Some people have complained that women don't actually come out and speak straight away. You've gone through something so traumatic. You don't know what you're supposed to do in a situation like that, because somehow an abuser will make you think that you're in the wrong and no one's going to believe you. We know how sexually abused children are kind of like abused in that sense, in that secret place, and how they make a child feel like, your parents will get in trouble if you find out. The fear that they put in you. So this goes on with adult women as well.
But the conversation has started, and let's just say #MeToo was created by a lady called Tarana Burke, a black woman. And once again, that wasn't even acknowledged because it went crazy. And I think that we just need to, when we have the opportunity to talk about what women are achieving and what black women are achieving, we have to, because we're living in a patriarchal society and some of it is dark. Yeah. And it's controlling.
But what is fantastic is that in the social media that we have right now, we can get there so quickly.
I love it.
We can really just go highlight, like there was a Black Girl Festival this weekend, and I just got the information just in maybe a week before, and I heard it was a complete huge success.
Oh, wonderful.
Because people actually, guess what? We're okay. We are a big commodity in this business. Yeah. And the day we recognise it, the day we start to put our own things up and start going, actually, we can call it Black Girl Magic. Actually, we can call it Black Girls. We are doing our things.
And the thing is, I'm looking forward to the time. Like, it was great that Jane Fonda said something, but why wasn't it said by a black person? And if it was said by a black person, they would say, oh, come on now, you're losing the point. And we just now need to be vocal and fiercely loving.
Oprah, Iyanla, they've been saying it for a long time. Yeah. They gave a big voice to black women in particular to talk about abuse. Yeah. And that was such a fantastic time and turning point that women could say, actually, I am going through this too. Yeah. And it's not just over there with different cultures, it's happening in our culture as well. And we can talk about it, and we can also heal it, and we can also highlight it, and also we can sort of protect our children, which is most important. So I do think that we do need that voice there, but that fierce voice that is coming right now.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, we got some feisty chicks out there, and we like it.
We do. and the first one?
Rihanna.
Oh, listen. Fenty.
Plenty Fenty.
Listen, I'm cruising soon.
Yes.
Sorry, did I drop that in?
You did drop that in. You just got back from holiday. She actually came in and said, I would love to go on a holiday. And I said, you would like to go on a holiday? You just got back. Well, but now you're going on a cruise.
No, I went. That was business. That holiday that I went on. This is purely relaxation.
That was business in Barbados. Okay.
This is purely relaxation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to Jamaica to type a letter.
hopefully, I will get some Fenty for my cruise. Hey, she sold 72 bad boy millions in 2 days.
Come through.
My girlfriend went to Harvey Nicks to get some and she said, oh my God, all the other brands, they're just standing there filing their nails because they've got nothing to do and the queue is long.
And so it's so fantastic because you're looking at all those kind of name brands and you're going, see?
Yeah.
See, we wear makeup too.
Yes.
And that little shady ashy brown that you're trying to give us to say everybody must use doesn't work for us. We're going to join this queue.
And why I like Rihanna is this. When they tried to say, someone came back to her and said, well, we've been doing colours like that for a while. She went #ashy. Because she's not playing. She's not playing.
Because, you know, sometimes when there's some makeup that's gone on some skin, you could go, no. Because I don't think everyone can wear MAC.
No.
No.
It goes grey.
You look grey and dusty. And it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not saying it's MAC because there are other brands. But the point is, I can just go, no, you got yellow tones, you need to fix that up. You've got pink tones, you've got green tones. But the fact that you've got these tones and she's got 40 shades that you can go,
Yeah,
beautiful.
She is a woman. She's a fierce woman. She's fierce and she knows what we want and she's given it to us. So we salute you, Rihanna.
Plenty Fenty. So, you know, I'm going down there to get my makeup because the last time as I said, I went down there and I just walked straight to the till and said, can I have, and they said the queue's around there. I said, oh my God. So I'm waiting patiently, but I'm hearing the queue is not going down.
I know.
That's good though.
I'm going with my sandwiches. Packed lunch.
This is a woman that she would make it a celebration. If anybody makes anything a celebration, it's got to be Jackie. She's celebrating. You had a Black History Month party at your house.
Yes, I had a dinner party. We laughed, we celebrated, we had fun. We were
because I think that's fantastic that you would go, it's a Black History Month party at my house. But she had a party, a celebration when the Queen was. What happened with the Queen?
No, when it was wasn't it the wedding? When the wedding? No, not the. It was a wedding of Kate.
Kate's middle.
Yes, and we all got dressed up and had afternoon. Why are you laughing?
Thank you, Kaylee, because that's what I did.
That's extra.
It's fun. Listen. We've got characters like Harvey in the news. We need to balance it up with fun and laughter. And I'm saying to you now, on Friday when I celebrated Black History with my girlfriends, we laughed. We talked about our successes. We talked about some people's adventures. I'm not mentioning anybody's name, but it was just so much fun. And I laughed and laughed until I nearly peed my pants.
Did you get your tenner, ladies?
I think I'm going to have tenner.
Listen, we need to talk about that because this running fast thing can't work.
Oh, and squeezing.
And squeezing and trying to juggle and trying to go whatever. And then sometimes just go, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. The wee didn't matter anyway. Sorry. Okay, when we come back, we're going to be talking about, I don't know. What we're going to be talking.
It's Angie Lamar and the ladies.
Yes.
So when you see a sister running or a lady running up and down the place, fast, randomly, running into a shop saying, excuse me, can I use the toilets? And people look at you and go, you got to be a customer. I say, I'll go and buy some bread on the way out. Yeah.
Just open the door.
Open the door. Or I stand here and pee up myself and quite happily do that. No, not really. For those of you who think this is really gross, it's just real. We're keeping it really real on the beat here this Monday evening. Because we're fierce ladies, aren't we, Jackie?
Listen, we're so fierce. We're so fierce because we take it from the fiercest sister out there, Solange.
Solange, no.
Listen, from She Beat Up Jay-Z.
We know she's fierce.
From She Beat Up Jay-Z.
Listen, can we have a little talk about that? Because clearly we weren't on radio at the time. So it'd be nice to refresh what we're talking about when we say fierce. When I saw Beyonce stand in the lift like, is my sister just kicking up my husband like that and I'm doing nothing? She's just dusting off her top like, oh, it's okay, this is standard behaviour.
Yeah.
I looked at Jay-Z and said, what did you do?
Yeah, that's sisterly
That's
love.
sister. I kick you up in the lift and walk out the lift
with my
and go,
sister,
and
big
go,
sister.
And they walked out the lift like, no, I just got my head kicked in, but here what? Business as usual.
Tina taught them well.
So we're back to Solange. Now she's showing us that she's still fierce.
She's still fierce. So of course, Solange had a Nubian hairstyle. And that's one of the things, that reason I think that she got upset. It was quite an eccentric, avant-garde twist hairstyle, and she had it in the Evening Standard, and it was quite.
It's a big circle.
It was a big circular, and it looked like art, really.
Yeah.
And Evening Standard put her on the front and cut off the circle. Sorry.
I think we should have a moment of silence. Because how do you do that? How do you do that? I come with my hairstyle and say, this is what I'm presenting to you. Here's the picture that you're going to use. And when I come back, you got me down and taken away my hairstyle. You've taken away the image that I gave you. She's right to be upset.
Oh, she said, oh, no. Don't touch my hair. And the interesting thing about it is, for us as black women, we've got this story about our hair being touched. And I saw a girlfriend on Facebook, and she had this t-shirt, "Don't touch my hair."
Yeah.
And lots of people have touched it. Oh my gosh, it's so soft. Oh my God, it's grown. No,
it's not grown. Can we stop this now? Can we talk about this? Okay, let's look at, if I see you today, right, and your hair is in cane row.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I see you, your hair is on the floor, but blonde.
It hasn't grown, and it hasn't.
No.
It hasn't developed a colour.
I didn't bleach it last night.
No.
I didn't take out my hairstyle and whatever. I just probably put a wig on.
Yes. And I don't understand why they don't get it, because wigs have been around for years. Sophia Loren, Joan Collins, they've all worn wigs. And why is it now straight? I just don't understand. So Solange proved it. She showed them, this is something that's sacred to a black woman. Don't touch my hair.
And the thing is, it's like, don't touch my hair in the sense of, as well, don't force up your business in it, because you can ask me the question like, what have I done or whatever, but you don't have to put your hand in it, because this is growing up from school. I used to do jokes about this. They put their hand in your hair. Oh my God, your hair's really graceful. Why'd you bring your hair? Oh my God, your hair's really graceful. And you just think, don't take your hand out of my head, because I can't explain it. You know when you can't explain your hair? Because you don't want to explain it, and you don't have to be somebody that explains.
I used to always. This is how I see it, Ange. When I see a punk rocker, we remember punk rockers, and they used to have their hair all spiky.
Yeah.
And you go, wow, and you walk on. Wow, and you walk on. Why this fascination? I went out with my girlfriend. We went out to a cocktail bar, and she had locks, and she was over from Barbados. And someone went up to her and said, "Your locks," and she went, "No." She just did this swerve, and that swerve meant, don't touch my hair. I just don't get it.
Listen,
locks, and we know you can't touch locks.
But you can't, even if you put locks on overnight, you still don't touch it.
No.
Because you know that I didn't just go all the way to like a place and go, I'm now Ital, I got locks overnight. It's my extensions, leave it alone.
Yeah.
What happened to me once, right, I was getting into my car, and I just opened the door. And I leaned, you know when you lean to pull the car door, and I put my wig hair got caught in the door, and I shut the door, and then I moved back to the car. And when I said the whole thing was hanging off on the car, and I looked in the car, I could see people going, what just happened there? And I opened the door, and I just pulled it out and just put it back on.
Good for you.
And but that gives you no right to touch me.
I love that confidence. Next time
we just
some glue on.
No, the wind. Sisters, on the wind level, we're going to talk about that one day. You've got to put the pins in. Let's be careful out there, because it's a real world. When we come back after 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking to Dr. Grace Ononiwu, OBE, and talking about what it feels like to be on the power list and be one powerhouse of a lady.
Angie Lamar and the ladies. Stay listening. Like wine, it just gets better.
You listen to Angie Lamar on The Beat, London. Keep on moving. That's what we encourage you to do, is to keep on moving. Don't stop.
No.
Hey. And one lady that hasn't stopped moving, powerhouse on the 2017 Power List. Big player.
big mover.
Shaker.
Mover, shaker.
Don't touch her hair.
No. And it always looks fine.
Yeah, don't touch her hair. We have on the line all the way from the West Midlands, because she is the Chief Crown Prosecutor of the West Midlands, the one, the only Dr. Grace Ononiwu, OBE. How you doing, Grace?
Hello, my friend.
How are you, darling?
I'm very, very well, Angie. Hello.
Oh, thank you for joining us. I know you're a very busy woman. When you're that powerful in the world, you're definitely busy. So Grace, thank you for joining us. And you know, all the letters that are going with your name at the beginning and at the end, you've got Doctor, you've got OBE, you've done some wonderful things right through your career, Grace, and it's a congratulations to have you on the power list for 2017. How did you feel when you heard the news that you were on that list?
I was pleased, but yet I was very humbled.
Yeah.
Because, when you do something because you have a strong sense of purpose, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. You don't imagine for a moment, and certainly where I grew up and how I grew up, you don't imagine for a moment that anybody would be sort of recognising you at that level. So I was very humbled. It was a nice thing.
But accolades have been following you for a long time, Grace. You know, you've come from such a you're very humble, and I've known you for a very long time, very good friend, we're not going to hide that. And I'm safe when I'm with you. I feel can't trouble me. But just tell us a little bit about where you started from, where you're coming from, so that we can see the journey and how successful you've become.
Well, I mean, obviously, I wanted to be a lawyer from a very early age. When I was about 8, I think, when my dad got stopped for speeding. He was speeding, by the way. But I told him that one day when I got older that I would be his lawyer. Obviously I didn't have any role models to look to at that time. So I used to watch a program called Crown Court. Yes. And I was really enamoured by the wigs and the gowns, and I thought, one day I'd like to do that lawyer thing. So when I was about 15, I went along to a career fair and I was told that I couldn't do it, that I should think about being a legal secretary. And there's nothing wrong with being a legal secretary if that's what you want to do, but I was given 100 reasons why I couldn't do it, but not one why I could. So obviously I rebelled and ended up failing all of my exams. And I have to say, when I came home and told my mother that I failed my exams, I thought I was going to get a beating. But she didn't do that. What she said never left me. And she said, oh, well, I guess that's what you're worth. And I never forgot that. You see, whilst I loved my friend, I didn't like failure. I didn't like how it made me feel. Yeah. And so my journey began. And I started off as a defence lawyer in a private firm. And then I joined the CPS and, hit every lawyer grade in the CPS until I think it was 2005 when I was appointed the first black Chief Crown Prosecutor in the history of the organisation.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, I'm happy, but it's important that I'm not the last. So this is why I spend a lot of time encouraging many that want to join the legal profession, many black men and women, not to be deterred by people telling them how difficult it is, and not to be afraid to try, and that people like myself who are now in these positions can be that role model and can help them along the way. So it's really important to me. It's great to have the accolade to be the first, but I just cannot be the last. So
Grace, when you get into a position and it's groundbreaking and you're the first, how long do you kind of remain satisfied with that? Because you're the first in quite a few things, and now you are in a position where you are now doctor, you are OBE, you are all these wonderful accolades that have been thrown at you. So when do you rest? When do you think, you know what, I've done that, I'm going for the next thing? Is it something that happens naturally, or are you progressing by the status, or is that just the way it's going for you?
Well, I think it's just important to do and to be the best that you can be. And what I always say is doing just enough is never good enough. And, work hard, do the best that you can be. And what I find actually is that a lot of people spend time trying to compete with other people, and I never do this. I'm not interested in what other people do.
Yeah.
I'm interested in making sure that I do well and that I'm the best that I can be. So that's what keeps me going, and knowing that I'm doing such an important role in protecting the public, and particularly victims of crime, and that gives me a strong sense of purpose.
Well,
So now, of course, I lead what is now the largest CPS area in the region, with nearly 500 staff that work for me in the West Midlands.
we said mover and shaker.
And I mean, 500 staff, we're just trying to get one person to do a little PA and stuff for us. So,
to help you out there.
but it's just wonderful to see a woman in position like yourself, and I've seen the work that you've done off record when you're empowering young women and young girls, and you're empowering young people, and you take the time out to show people that you can, and I love that in you. I think you're an amazing woman. I salute you big time, you know this, and I'm just so proud of you, and to see that you're making changes and constantly opening the doors for other people. We just want to celebrate you this Black History Month, and just say thank you so much for being an awesome, wonderful sister out there.
Well, and thank you, Angie, for being such a great friend, because obviously, you don't do this on your own, and it's really, really helpful to have someone that you can trust, and you are a fantastic friend, and I love you, and thank you so much for all that you do. And Jackie, this is a fantastic show. Stop laughing. I've got back to work.
Thank you, Grace.
I was a bit nervous about coming on because I wondered if you were going to get me into trouble.
You see, I'm on my best behaviour now, Grace. When you've got all those letters and the front, in
front and behind.
But can I just say, Grace, it's great that we're saluting you on Black History Month, and one of the messages that you've said that I want all the young girls to listen to is this thing about not competing, because you're unique. Everybody's unique, and everybody has their own purpose in life. So thank you for reiterating some of my sentiments, and I think you're wonderful, and I'm proud of you, and I'm going to be your friend as well. Can I share, Grace? Because
No,
what?
When your friend buys you John Legend tickets,
I know.
It's not 3, it's 2 tickets. It's just
anyway,
2.
Listen. I'm just giving a shout out to my friends Lorraine and Val and Sharon. But I also want a Grace in Birmingham.
My Grace was sufficient for me.
Okay.
Okay, Grace.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. All right, take care. Lovely.
Thank you very much. You listen to Angie Lamar and Jackie G. Michaels in the studio. We have Shaun Wallace going to be joining us now, talking about what it's like to be so intelligent.
Angie Lamar and the ladies. Stay listening. Like wine, it just gets better.
Listen to Angie Lamar on the Beat, London 103.6 FM. And we are here till 10 o'clock. We're going to be taking the calls and opening the lines on 0208 963 9566. If you want to talk to our guest later on in the show, we're going to open up the lines, and we've got some wonderful guests in the studio right now, and it's wonderful that we're celebrating Black History Month, and also we're bringing men into the studio because people have said, ladies, where are the men, and so we said, for Black History Month celebration, we're going to bring people from Northwest London.
Yeah. North Wheezy.
North Wheezy, we've done our work.
Yeah,
we've done our work.
Listen, we want no complaints. I don't want any complaints.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to say that there's bias on our show.
Or marching, because Black Lives Matter.
Absolutely.
So our first guest that we're going to bring into the ladies' room right now is none other than the one and only Shaun Wallace. You would have seen him on ITV, The Chase, and you would have seen him in 2004. You won Mastermind.
That's correct, yes.
And you have been awesome. I'm just loving you being here right now.
Oh, thank you, Angie.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, actually.
And let's celebrate you with a big round of applause.
Woo, 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 woo.
Some wonderful success stories coming here this evening. So Shaun, tell us, how did it start? Because when I started reading about you years ago, you were a barrister.
I still am a barrister.
Are you still?
As I say to a lot of people, I'm a barrister who happens to be on TV, not the other way around, and it must always be that way.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, I like that. So tell us about the journey into becoming a barrister, because you're from North West London, you're from Wembley.
Yes, I'm born in Brent, proud of Brent. I actually ran as an independent MP in 2005, so, you know, this place will always be my heart and home.
Oh, wow. So what was it about you as a young child that said, you know what, I want to... We were just talking to Grace and she said, I love. She, you know, she, as a child, she actually felt that she wanted to make a difference. You know, she saw something growing up and she watched Crown Court and she was inspired. What was it for you?
Same here, actually. Pretty much the same sort of experiences. And also for me, I had a lot of black role models like Muhammad Ali, Garfield Sobers, Pele. So when I was a kid growing up, the most famous sportsman in the world was black, the most best footballer in the world was black, the most famous politician in the world was black. And I thought as a little kid, if I can be a quarter of what they were in terms of their achievements, then I would have made something worthwhile with my life. So when I was 11 years old, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wrote to the Bar Council when I was 12, they wrote back, and when I received that letter, it was the first letter I received from an adult, and I kept that as a source of inspiration.
So your parents, what's the effect your parents had on you? Were you raised, education, was that something that was kind of drummed into you? How were your parents?
My parents are very, very supportive. It was mainly my elder sister, Sandra, who really, you know, drummed it into me. She was my first real hero. And she really drummed into me the importance of education, and I've got a lot to thank her for.
So going through education, were you encouraged? You know, like the teachers, did they have a strong part to play, or were they against?
No? Well, the local school I went to was Copeland, and when I showed them that letter at the start of my GCSEs, they told me I was going to end up either in prison or I was going to end up packing shells. I mean, they were right about me ending up in prison. Only forgot to say that after having seen my client, I can go home again.
Yes.
I love that. So how hard is the work for you to become a barrister? You know, because
it is hard work.
It's not easy.
It's no easier than any sort of profession, and that's why I like to go into schools to try and inspire the next generation. And one of the things I always say to young people, education is the springboard to great opportunities, and that's why, you know, it changed my life. You know, my love of learning, and yes, so that's why I spend my life to try and inspire the next generation.
So when it comes to when I watch on The Chase, Shaun, and when I watched your Mastermind, and those questions that were coming fast at you, and you just snap them off like that. I just thought to myself, how many books do you need to get through to have that level of knowledge?
You know, I'm going to say this, Angie, and I'm not saying this to be flippant or anything otherwise. I'm no cleverer than anybody else in this room, because everybody's got the capacity to learn. Everybody has an interest in something, and if you've got an interest in something, it's going to make it easier for you to remember. It's a simple philosophy.
But there's also a gifting in that as well.
But you've got to have that passion to learn. You've got to have that passion to learn. So, and if you have that, and that's why I try to inspire the next generation in relation to why education is so important. It broadens the mind. It makes you more a reasoned person in terms of, you know, one's development.
So when you go into like prisons, but you go in it from a different point of view, and you see young kids in prison, what does that do to you?
Well, as I say, I've been in the criminal justice system as a defence barrister for the last 34 years, actually. So, you know, obviously it breaks my heart to see, especially the large disproportionate of young black males who are in prison. But the one thing I do say to them, it may be a blot in your landscape, but your future is never behind you. Some people, as I say, have had difficult and rough starts, but it doesn't mean to say that you can't actually use that as an experience to actually drive yourself forward. And that's why I think people like myself and Trevor are here to actually offer ourselves as sort of goal models. I don't like to call myself a role model, goal models, to basically say, look, I want to be like Shaun Wallace, but what I say to people is don't be like me, surpass my achievements. It's all about surpassing your achievements. It's all about people like myself and Trevor, not giving back, but putting forward. It's about putting forward.
Yeah. Because when I see you on The Chase, and you're so cool, you're so relaxed, and so it's just a privilege to be able to watch this in this time, because we're not getting the media balance and exposure that we deserve. And so when we have Black History Month, and I'm quite pro Black History Month, and there's some people who feel, okay, we should be celebrating Black History Month every month, but that's not the case. How do you feel about Black History Month? Do you find that it's important that we celebrate, or do you think it's something that should be right through the year?
Well, obviously I'd like to actually see it part of the school curriculum to be celebrated throughout the whole year. But when it does come around, I think it's important that it's highlighted. It's important that we promote the message that Black people and the Black community at large have made a positive contribution and will continue to do so.
Yeah.
Well, can I just say it's a pleasure to have Shaun here, because Shaun, we go back.
We certainly do, Jack.
We go back a long way.
I've known Jackie for over 35 years. We used to raid together at Night Moves. Remember Night Moves?
Yes.
You and the Feel Good Posse.
Did you hit the Feel Good Posse?
Yeah, they were superb. It was her, Nadine, Jackie, her sister Yvonne. They were the
Sharon.
prettiest girls. Shaun McFarlane, the prettiest girls, the coolest girls. They could, everybody was sort of rushing to buy them drinks. It was fantastic. And do you remember you came to my first party to celebrate me qualifying as a barrister, 5th of January 2005. Remember at my house?
Listen, it was a roadblock. It was packed. It was nice. What time did we leave?
7 o'clock, because what happened, people wouldn't leave. My mate Chris Sweeney was a DJ, and my sister had enough after about 7:30, and she just wanted to cellar, pulled out the fuse. That was it. And you remember, it was the first snow that year, and everybody trudged out. But what made it worse?
We did not come. You know, like some people see snow and you say, "Oh, I can't go to the rave."
Yeah.
Oh no, we were there.
But what made it worse? I told my mum I was going to have a few friends to actually celebrate. So I'll never forget it when when I looked at the house, the cream walls had sort of handprints on there.
Rubbing up on the wall.
The carpet had sort of stains on it, and my mum didn't tell me when she was coming back. So I was dreading that she was coming back that night. So luckily, she came back 2 days afterwards, and she said to me, "Shaun, you keep partying?" I said, "No." "You sure?" No.
You're serious?
Yeah, denied it all the way.
This is why when I see Shaun on TV, I'm so proud, because of course, remember now, we're talking about, we go back from Night Moves, party in his house, and a regular guy. Yes, he made achievements, but he's always been humble, and he's so bright. And can I just say this, Shaun? My mum is one of Shaun's greatest fans. She loves The Chase, and at 84 she's at home. There's not much thing that they have looking forward to, but what she has is The Chase. So when it was her birthday this year, I phoned Shaun. I said, "Shaun, can you do something for my mum?" He goes, "I'll send her an autograph picture." Well, it came in the post.
And she wasn't expecting it.
She wasn't expecting it until Shaun is now part of the family. He is on our dining room table. It's there. It's there in our house. So thank you, darling.
Thank you.
You made my mum happy.
That's so important, isn't it, Shaun? Because you don't realise the effect you have on people, and you're just going about your life. You're doing your bit, but we're here being inspired.
Yeah.
You know what, I tell you, when I won Mastermind, I didn't even tell my mum. The first time she knew was when she saw it on the grand final, and there's a reason why I didn't tell anybody, because I didn't want the actual pressure. But it was the win wasn't just for me, it was for family, it was for Black people at large, to basically show, A, we can shatter ceilings, B, we're more than just musicians, more than just footballers, we are clever. And for me, my philosophy in relation to fame is, I'm enjoying it, but I'm today's news, I'm tomorrow's chief rapper, sadly.
You know, but you say that, but you're not. It's not like it's that kind of overnight success. It's a steady build,
It always has
and it's a
done.
concrete build
Yeah.
where you just go. If anybody was in doubt of whether a black man can win Mastermind, you are there
Yeah.
in the history, and that is not just chip paper tomorrow.
No, but hopefully I won't be the last. I was the first black person to apply for the show.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
And why do you think that is? Do you think that's because of confidence?
I think it's because we lack confidence in
Yeah.
our own ability, and hopefully, as I say, when people see people like myself, Treva, and I could list a whole heap of black talented people. Once we make that final breakthrough in the media, we will take over and we will rise and remain.
What do you think we have to do? We have to be able to celebrate ourselves. We have to be endorsing each other.
Yeah.
For instance, you come into the show tonight, endorses the show, endorses the station,
I'm
endorses.
proud to be here.
Yeah, and that's what's important, that we get to see you
Yeah.
in this environment.
Yeah, exactly. As I say, when people see me, and sometimes it's a bit strange when people sort of, go gaga when they see me, but I'm no different than anybody else. I live in the same street, same manner, I've got the same friends, and it's important to remember this. No matter how high you go, make sure your feet are firmly planted on the floor.
Absolutely. And that's what was so great, whereby, it was a phone call. And Shaun said, "Yeah, anything for you, Jax," and I really appreciate
Yeah,
that,
I'm
because
sucky.
we're proud of you, and that's the other thing, is that we are proud of you, and there isn't, we've been listening to people who are successful today, and there's things that have come out, the fact that people are humble, the fact that people are unique, there's no competition, and these are the things that are the qualities that I hope the listeners are listening to, so that we can take this forward and we encourage more people to help others to surpass them.
Exactly.
So when you go through the downside, because there's the upside, there's a success, do you suffer from a point of like, maybe I've got to achieve more, there's a pressure on me, people are inspired by me, I've got to show a good front in that way?
I've got to. I've not changed as an individual, but as I say to a lot of people, the reason why, 14 years ago I could walk down the road, I was Shaun who. Now I'm Shaun Wallace, everybody knows, and that's why it's important to actually keep that perspective and basically treat, success and failure as twin imposters.
The Dark Destroyer.
So when we come back, I want to talk about how you actually got onto The Chase ITV.
Great.
Angie Lamar and the ladies. Stay listening. Like wine, it just gets better.
Angela Marr on the beat, and we just heard Silly Games by Janet Kay, and Silly Games, we play The Chase. And so, Shaun, how did you get onto The Chase? We're talking to Shaun Wallace, who is from The Chase, who is also the 2004 Mastermind winner, joins us live in the studio today to celebrate Black History Month. So how did you get onto The Chase?
After having won Mastermind, because it was the best quiz show probably in Britain, if not the world, I retired. And they asked me to come out of retirement to become an egghead. I don't know if you watched the BBC Two quiz show Eggheads. So I came out of retirement, got all the way to the grand final, and I got beaten. And I was so disappointed. I sat in my car listening to Steely Dan's greatest hits. I went to actually see them yesterday, and I decided to actually write my autobiography. So that's coming out in March, called Chasing the Dream.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, so then ITV saw my performances. They asked me to come along for an audition because they wanted to try and create an exciting new game show, as they sold it. So I went along to the audition. They asked me 30 questions. I got 27 out of 30.
Oh, wow.
Then once they realised I lost in the grand final, I then was working on the show for 6 months. Went to 3 different auditions, smashed it. They then brought in Mark, the Beast. We then went up to Manchester in June 2009, and the rest is history.
And so how do you manage to do that and be a barrister as well?
Because of the fact that I'm doing 2 jobs which I completely love. I mean, to be honest, being a chaser is just a fantastic part-time gig. But I'm a lawyer first and foremost, so when I've got trials on, then obviously that comes first. But once I know what my sort of recording schedule is, then I just concentrate on that. So we film up in Elstree now.
Okay.
So I've just come back from the chase this evening. So I had a nice little recording gig. I had to take on 4 in the final chase.
Oh, wow.
and I've been with about 20 seconds to spare.
Oh.
See, that's the bit when I'm watching, I'm thinking, he's never going to do it. How can you do it? How can he do it? And then you do it, and I think,
Yeah,
oh
but
my
I don't
gosh.
win all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to profess that I do, because even Achilles has a heel. So, you know, I do. You know, I do have weaknesses.
I like that. So you have a book coming out next year. So
Yeah.
tell us about that, Chasing the Dreams.
Yeah, it's an
Great
autobiography.
name.
Yeah, it's. I told my life story within that hour listening to Steely Dan's greatest hits, and you know, the point you made, Angie, in relation to the sort of, you know, ups and downs of my life. My life has had that roller coaster existence. You know, I've had my fair share of setbacks. You know, it took me 5 times to pass O-level English language.
Wow.
So I want people to realise, you know, no matter whatever adversity you may have, it's always important about getting over the obstacles and trying to not allow them to defeat you.
Yeah.
And look how it turned out for me.
Fantastic. So the book is out in March.
Yeah, March.
So you're now going to go onto the book circuit.
Yeah, I'm
now
going to go around the country. I'm actually I've been invited to New Zealand because apparently I've got a big fan base down there. So I'm going to be doing an audience with Shaun Wallace for about 5 weeks in February. So
why don't you do an audience with over here?
I've done that. So all over the country, yeah. When people ask me to do that, yeah, I do.
So I've never seen an audience with Shaun
Well, I mean,
in London.
as I say, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, people have been, yeah.
So can we have another one?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, come on.
I will.
We
yeah.
want to celebrate. We want to
Yeah. When the book comes out, that will definitely
that
be
will
one.
make sense.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. So you're going to stay with us, and we're going to open the lines up later on in the show.
Thanks, Angie.
And just kind of like, you know, inspire people. If you want to speak to Shaun Wallace and just say, you know, you're going through this and you'd like to try this, you might want an encouraging word, or you might need some advice, give us a call, 0208 963 9566. And also when we come back, we're going to be speaking to the one and only Treva Etienne, who's an actor, producer, director. Went from Harlesden to Hollywood. I mean, it's West London, it's North Wheezy, isn't
I
it?
know, we're so fabulous. We are so fabulous.
What is in the water? We're going to find out when we come back.
Angie and the 3 J's. Jackie, Jasmine and Jackie.
Rudy Thomas and If I Had the Key, that key to the world. And now if I played that, I was just reminding Shaun and Jackie and Treva of their raving days and perhaps what they used to do at that time. You would probably squeeze somebody and ask them for a dance. Memories.
Not me.
Yeah, feel good pussy. Hello.
No, we were actually doing the feeling. We were, listen.
They weren't.
Can I just say, Shaun, I'm glad Shaun's here because when I said to the ladies that I was part of the Feel Good Posse, they said, oh, feel up, feel up. I said, no, it's about us feeling good.
Good, yeah.
Okay. And they didn't believe me, so I'm glad I have got Shaun, the Dark Destroyer, to say that it was about feeling good, not feeling up.
Okay, we thank you for clearing that up.
It's nice to feel up now.
Oh my God.
No. Oh gosh.
Let's keep Harvey Weinstein out of this.
Because feel up is feel good as well, no?
Yes. Trevor, I'd like to welcome you to the beat. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Actor, producer, director, the list goes on, Trevor, when we describe you. And it's wonderful to have you in the studio today. I know you fly out tomorrow, so we feel honoured that you would be here this evening.
Thank you very much.
Celebrating Black History Month today. We come to the end of Black History Month tomorrow, but also as well, just to say that we're in Harlesden now, and you were actually born in Harlesden.
Well,
not born in Harlesden. Tell them where you were born.
Hammersmith Hospital.
Okay. And then you went to live in Lewisham.
And then, well, yeah.
Bring up the south.
Well, we were, so Hammersmith Hospital, Ladbroke Grove, then Blackheath, Lewisham, Kensal Rise, and then Harlesden. So we moved around because my dad was a bus driver, so he had to move wherever the work was. So we were just like on a bus all the time, like summer holiday and Cliff Richardy kind of vibe.
We're going on a summer holiday.
So thank you for that. So, but you know, really, you kind of grew up in Harlesden.
Oh yeah.
Ultimately,
Harlesden. I'm Harlesden at heart. I'm a Nuigi. What do you call that?
North Wheezy.
Oh, North Wheezy.
You've been that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Hollywood version. North Ouija.
Norwegian. I said Norwegian. But what did you say?
North Wheezy.
North Wheezy. I didn't know that show.
So Trevor, let's talk about how it all started. How did it start for you as an actor? For you as a child who wanted to, get onto the screens, get into theatre. It's just been a fantastic journey. When we look at some of your credentials and we look at the work that you've done, you have been in Curse of the Black Pearl, Terminator's Salvation, Black Hawk Down, Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's Hollywood, The Real McCoy, Drive Me Crazy. So many, and also the latest is Falling Skies. And that's for HBO.
That was for a network called TNT in the States.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's your recent one, and that you're still working on that.
Well, no, I'm doing something for Netflix now, which is why I'm here. I'm doing a new 8-part drama about Rwanda.
And it's just a great track record, a great CV, a great history. I mean, I've known you since I was about 15.
Yeah.
It's 15, 16.
Yeah, we go back.
To Dick Shepherd's, where we kind of started with Afro Sax, and before we move on, we lost the great Sir Larrington Walker, and we salute Larrington right now.
Rest in peace, Harry.
Yeah, because he was a great guy in the sense that he inspired us to become who we are today, Afro Sax, and so that's really important. So we'll talk about that later. But even The Real McCoy, directing The Real McCoy, when people saw me on The Real McCoy doing that first stand-up set, that was down to you, Trevor. That phone call was like, Angie, we need black women on, and it's only you have to do it. And I was like, okay, the politics. But it was like, no, get your 5 minutes. No, get your 5 minutes. And that was, that was groundbreaking at that time. So just to kind of like work out, that's what you've done, and you've done a lot more. How did it start? Who was a little boy who was dreaming about doing these things?
Well, I had a stutter when I was a kid. So for a long time I didn't speak. I didn't really speak till I was about 9 or 10. I was just a little kid in the corner and I never spoke. And anytime I tried to speak, everyone said he's got a stutter. So people would finish my sentences for me. And I remember I used to watch a lot of television, a lot of movies. And I remember watching James Cagney. And James Cagney spoke in this really quick-fire gangster kind of repartee. And I remember looking at him going, he speaks like me. Because when I used to create a sentence, I'd have to speak really fast so that I could get it out. Like, Mum, I'm going to get a masba.
Okay.
Because if I slowed it down, I'd get caught in a stutter. And I talk to a lot of kids. I go around states and I talk to a lot of... Hello? I thought that was my echo. And I do a lot of stuff with kids who have stutters to try and inspire them and stuff. So I started watching James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, and all these old kind of gangster movies from Warner Brothers. And I used to go to school and I used to speak like a gangster. And I realized that when I spoke like a gangster, I didn't stutter. So I was like this American gangster. I'm like 6 years old, and I'm like walking around going, yeah, what's going on? And then my teacher said to me, you're a good mimic, Have you ever thought about drama? And I was like, I didn't know what that was. So I left it for a while, and then because we're moving around a lot, I think it was when I was about 9 or 10, I went to a furnace down the road here, and a teacher was saying to me that I should really look at it. And at the time I didn't know, and I said, what is it that James Cagney, like, what does he do, Humphrey Bogart? He goes, they're actors. I went, I said, what's an actor? I said, they act, they pretend to be other people and they get paid. I was like, okay. So then when I went to Elstone, I started just playing around with the idea, and Shaun said, our area back in the day, when you were a black kid in this kind of era, they never really gave you much hope. The careers officer would always say to you, you're not going to amount to much because you ain't got the O levels, you haven't got the intellect, you haven't got the skills, whatever. But I was always interested in writing and English and history and stuff like that. And the acting was always something I was doing as a hobby. And then my teacher told me about this school in Islington called the Anna Sher Children's Theatre. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to go and check that out because, I just want to go and see what they do. And I found out that a lot of the kids that I was seeing on television in Grange Hill, they all came from her school. I was like, oh, wow. So I was like 13. I took the train from Wilson Junction. I had like 30 pence on me. I took the train from on my own. I didn't know where I was going. I just had an address. They told me how to get there. I got up at Highbury in Islington. I walked lost, didn't know why I was 13, lost. And I found this street, walked up the street, and there was the Anna Sher Children's Theatre. And I went, this is it. And I walked in, and I said to her, I want to join your school. And she goes, oh, we have a waiting list. It's about 2 years long. I was like, I ain't waiting 2 years. I'm getting in now. So I said, okay, I'll sign. But I said, but I'll be back, like Arnold. And about, I don't know, 6 months, if that, maybe sooner, I got a call that there was a space. And I went in and I went back. And it was every Monday and Wednesday, 7:30 to 9:30. And I would finish school, rush through my homework. Them days I didn't have no money, so I used to climb over the train line and risk getting all shook up on the train.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I used to climb over the train line on Wilson Junction, you know, the long alleyway. It took me, you know, and I used to jump over the train and look left, look right, and then wait for the train. And then I used to take the train down to Islington, pay my 30 pence for the class. And what was good about her classes was that you could write. So at the end of every class, she'd encourage you to come back next week with a play. So I had ideas in my head. So I started writing plays, and I'd come back and you choose who you want to be in your play. You'd bring them downstairs. You'd bring a song on vinyl, like the Specials or something like, or, you know, Bob Marley or whatever. And then you tell them what the play was about homelessness or racism or bullying or whatever. And then you go back upstairs and the play would be about 15, 20 minutes long. And you kind of direct it and tell people what they were doing downstairs in the cafe. And then you go upstairs, you'd have someone doing lighting and sound, and you would create this play out of nothing. It was just improv. And then at the end of the term, she would choose the best plays because everyone had to mark it. And then she'd choose the plays with the highest score, and they would go into a festival where she would invite one of the Monty Python mob or somebody from the Sweeney or someone who was a celeb at the time. And it was called Anisha Festival of Plays. And I wrote 11 plays, and I think 5 or 6 of them got into the festival, and 3 of them won.
Wow. How long were you at Anisha's for?
I was there for about 2 years. So from about 13 to 15 and a half, I was there.
So at that point, that's when you realised this is what I want to do.
I didn't really know if that's what I wanted to do, because I thought I was going to be an electrician. Because I was always, when I was a kid, I was always playing with electricity and stuff. And, you know, my mum tells stories about how, you know, when you used to have that black licorice tape wire, I thought it was licorice. So she tells stories about how she'd see my little feet behind the fridge and just go zzz, and all the lights would go out. and it would be me chewing a little while like a little rat. I'd be gnawing, trying to get the tape, because I like the taste of the tape, because it was like licorice. It was that black sticky, you remember the one? So I thought it was so she'd go, it's him again, it's him, the beast, the beast. So I thought I was going to do like electrician, and when I left school, like Shaun said, you know, we didn't really have teachers inspiring us to kind of have careers. Although all my drama teachers, Miss Old, Miss Dutch, they were great, and they were always inspiring to me. And I must have written off, God, I don't know, 200 applications. I used to go to Tottenham, take the train, do these application courses, sit there, and, you know, I knew what I was doing, and I never got a job, Angie. I never got one job. I got a couple of callbacks, never did. So then I thought, okay, I'll try the gas board, because that's where people said, you know, try the gas board. So I tried the gas board for about 6 months. Nothing. I just couldn't get a job doing any electricity or gas. So I even went to college for a year at Paddington Green. I went there for a year to do that, nothing. And then one day my dad said to me, look, man, you need to get a job. He said, so he brought me to London Transport down in Westbourne Park, and there was a locker, and there was a London bus driver's uniform in the locker, and he said, you're going to drive the buses. And I looked at it and I went, nah, I can't drive a bus. So I can't do that. So then I thought, you know what? Let me see if I can do this acting. And everyone said, but you got to stutter, you can't speak. I said, no, I'm going to work it out. So I literally taught myself how to speak. Literally taught myself, like, used to write words down and try and work out the breathing and everything else. And then I just thought, okay, fine. And then I just started writing off to drama school. They said, you're too young, you can't be in a drama school, we don't take them till you're 18, so you got to wait 2 years. And I thought, I can't wait 2 years. So then I just started joining every youth theatre I could, Royal Court, Young Vic, BTC, Omnibus down here, and I was doing like 5 plays all at the same time. It was crazy.
So you've gone through that journey. So your big break came when you did London's Burning.
Yeah, well, I'd done a lot of plays, so I started to do. Yeah, I was doing Shakespeare. I played Macbeth. I was the youngest Macbeth at the National ever. I was 21. I played Macbeth. Anthony Hopkins and Judi Dench sat me down in the foyer with Decima Francis, who played Lady Macbeth, and they sat us down and they gave us these tips about how to play Macbeth. Like, Anthony Hopkins, Judi Dench. Wow, that's really. And they were really cool people. And then I went out on the stage. I did Macbeth, and then I did some work in America doing Shakespeare. And I came back and I did this play called Some Kind of Hero about a soldier who shot his officer. You remember that play, right? And then soon after that, I did a bit of Casualty and that, and then London's Burning came, and that kind of opened the door.
Prospects.
Yeah, I did Prospects. Yeah, I did Prospects before that as well. Yeah.
So you come from a real catalogue of great work, and you know it seemed like this was going to be this big thing. It was going to grow and grow and grow, but naturally it's an on and off thing. You get despondent. You decide to go to America. What made you decide to go to America?
Ooh, well, so I went to America in 2002, and I had been producing and directing for a while. I did The Real McCoy. I produced, directed that, wrote sketches, worked with the great late Felix Dexter, wonderful man. And I'd done a BBC director's course, and I was really just trying to get more stuff happening inside the BBC for people of colour, you know. And at that point, there was a little buzz going on. We had Normski. You had people like that kind of buzzing around, and you know, we really thought, okay, The Real McCoy, you know, here's a groundbreaking show.
It was.
You know, we had people laughing forever, and we just thought, okay, we'll keep this going. And then the BBC just said one day, that's it, we're done. And we're like, but we got the highest ratings. We're in the BBC, you know, we're in the big studio where they do like, you know, Morecambe and Wise and the Generation Game. Said, no, that's it, we're done. So then I tried to get stuff inside the BBC after that because I was BBC trained. I tried to get stuff going on in BBC Radio because I was BBC Radio trained, and I tried to get shows like, you know, I set up a production company. We tried to set up Angie's Party. I mean, I had projects just forever, and I was walking up and down Channel 4, BBC for like 3 years, and they knew me as an actor, but I was trying to prove myself as a director and a producer, and I'd done bits. They knew I'd done A Real McCoy. They knew I'd worked at Elstree. I mean, you know, I'd done everything. I'd acted, directed, produced, written, done radio, and they were still showing me no love. And then I decided that I was going to do my own short film. So I did this short film off my own back. Everyone said, you're crazy. And my buddy told me that he would give me $3,000 to do a little short film. And on the day that the day before we were supposed to film, he rang me and said, Treva, I can't get the money, you know. I said, what do you mean? He said, I can't get the money because my wife spent all the money. She bought a new car. God. I said, boss, I got camera and food and everybody coming to my yard in Cricket. He said, I can't do it. So I sat there thinking, what am I going to do? And I remember the old Spike Lee story about how you make the list. So I made a list of all the people I'd worked with, and I said, you know what? I'm going to just ask them for money. And I had this contract for a show that I ended up doing called Holding On. But at the time, the show was very controversial, very dark. Lots of, you know, dark elements in the show, and the BBC had put it on hold. Although they'd sent us all contracts as the actors, they put the show on hold because they didn't know if they wanted to do it. But the contract was worth $8,000. So I rang everybody and I said to them, listen, I've got collateral, I've got this script, I've got this contract, and it's worth $8,000. I said, if you give me 500, $1,000, $2,000, I'll pay you back. And I sent them the contract as collateral to say, look, I'm doing this show with the BBC. Wow. I didn't even know they're going to do it. And it was all blag because I didn't know the BBC. It'd been sitting there for like 4 months. You know, they were going, we're going to do it, but not this month. Yeah. But it was still sitting there. So I used this dead contract as collateral to get my money. And I rang everybody I knew. And I just made the list. And I only needed $3,000. And by the end of the conversation, I'd raised $8,000.
Wow.
So I thought, I'm going to do 2. So I shot 2 short films, and one of them ended up winning an award with HBO, and that changed everything.
And so when we come back, we're going to be talking to Treva Etienne, who is an actor, director, producer, the list goes on. And we're talking about dreams and how you build your dreams and believe in yourself and make things happen. We spoke to Shaun, Wallace earlier about just, you know, wanting to pursue education, make a difference. So if you'd like to join the conversation, the number to call is 0208 963 9566. You can give us a call now. When we come back, we open the lines up. I'm going to be talking to Treva about what's it like being in the film with Will Smith. Come on now.
Angie Lamar and the ladies. Stay listening. Like wine, it just gets better.
You're listening to us, and we are talking about some wonderful stories about going for your dreams, living your dreams, chasing your dreams. The book out in March. Shaun Wallace. We have Shaun in the studio. We're also talking to Treva Etienne about his career and just really getting through the stumbling blocks of, having a dream, deciding that this is what I want to do and going for it. Jackie G. Michaels is in the studio with me, and we're just being inspired. I hope you're being inspired. It is Black History Month, and we come to the end of the 30th year. This is 30 years of celebrating Black History Month in the UK. And I think it's a celebration that we should always remind ourselves of, that we stand on broad, strong shoulders, and every time we can make a difference in someone's life, we must make sure we do so. And so we're talking to Treva Etienne. Treva, let's go to Hollywood. We're in Hollywood now, and you're moving with people. Sometimes when you talk and you go, I was talking to Denzel, and you drop it like you don't even have to say Washington. You just say I was talking to Denzel, and I have to go, who is that, Washington or Mackenzie? But it's Washington. And you've worked with the likes of Will Smith. Bad Boys too. Bad Boys. What was that like? You go for an audition and you meet Will Smith and you think, look at me, I'm trying to get something on the BBC, trying to get something on the ITV, and now I'm in Hollywood with Will Smith. How does that feel?
Well, it was kind of surreal actually, because I had just been told, like literally that day, that I also got Pirates of the Caribbean as well. So okay, I just met Johnny Depp as well. So
what's that like?
Johnny was super cool. We did this reading in his club, and he I had just seen what's that one he did?
Scissors.
No, the other one. The one he did with Al Pacino. Donnie Darko. Donnie. Yeah.
We've got to chase it.
He had that.
That's why you need him. Pan left. There he is.
Donnie Brasco.
There you go. Donnie Brasco. Thank you, Donnie Brasco. No, it was cool, and all the myths that you hear on TV that you can't approach people, and I've always just treated people like they're from Harlesden. Like when when you go in and you have to go and buy the right plantain for your mum, and you have to make sure that you feel it, and you make sure she'll cuss you and say it's too soft, and you have to go back and claim my next one. So I've always just treated everybody like the same. So working people like that, you just you show up, they show up, and you're just professional, and everyone's there just to get the job done and have a laugh. And it was an immediate laugh. Him and Martin Lawrence were great. We did this crazy scene, and then I had another day doing another scene, and it was just like in Miami, bit surreal. You're in a trailer, you're walking past a trailer with Will Smith's big trailer with his name on it, and then you have a trailer, and it's kind of like, you kind of remember the boy from Harlesden, you know what I mean? You kind of go, wow. Because I went to America with 80 pounds, but everyone said, don't go, Trev, you can't go. And I went, no, I think I should go. Spirit told me to go. So I jumped on a plane, and I had 80 pounds on me. That was 15 years ago.
And you haven't looked back?
No, I told my daughter that I might come back in 2 weeks, because I don't know how far 80 pounds would stretch. And I got there, and I was homeless for 6 months. I was juggling on people's couches, and I lived in 13 different houses for 6 months. And every time I had to give someone's house back, the phone would ring, and just go, is this Trevor? And someone would give me a key, the car, and say, we're leaving for a couple of weeks, could you look after our little dog or our little parrot or a little cat? I go, okay. And they leave a food in the fridge. It was unreal. And I said, Trevor, that doesn't happen in Hollywood. I said, that's what I found. So the 80 pound stretch.
It did stretch.
6 months.
6 months, and you 15 years. You haven't looked back, and do you know we can talk about this when we come back, because we've got to go to the ads. But just to think about, do you think that you let go of London, let go of England, and the groundbreaking things that you were doing? Do you think that you need to come back to do them again? When we come back, I like to think about that. Not coming back, because that's up to you, surely. But, that whole thing of, your energy of making things happen. You were definitely one of those, groundbreakers, and you stood up and fought for people. And some of that is still there, some of that is not there. But with that compassion, we appreciate that. So, yeah, when we come back with lots, will you come back to London?
Angie Lamar on The Beat London, 103.6 FM.
Myself and Jackie G. Michaels, we're here. We're going to open the line. The phone call, the line.
In the house. Northwest London's messing up the studio.
West London people, bench. Let's leave it to the South London chick to keep it moving. Okay. Because you're over there just playing games. The number to call is 0208 963 9566. If you'd like to ask a question, maybe you are, going through something in your life. Maybe you want to be encouraged. Maybe you want to be reminded of your dream. Maybe you want to be thinking about something that is really, really important to you, and you just want some sort of support. Maybe you'd like to ask Trevor, how did you get to Hollywood? How do you go out there? How do you get an agent? How do you sustain your mind when you go for something and it's not going the way you want it to go? You know, that feeling of like, is this it? Because of Trevor, you're going out there for 6 months. After £80 in your pocket, that's complete faith, isn't it? That's belief.
Yeah.
I mean, that being able to say, well, it will get better. What is that thing that makes you go, okay, this will get better?
Is that right?
Yeah.
I feel like a backing singer in it.
Sure.
Well, I think because I think it goes back to me being the little boy who had the stutter. And I didn't have any teacher, I didn't have any trainer. I just had an idea and a piece of paper that I could change the way I thought about myself. Because up until that point, I was being told that I was stupid because I had a stutter, I would never learn. They were even going to put me in a special needs class because they thought the stutter was autistic. And they were judging me. And I went, no, I know me, I'm not stupid. I can do whatever I feel I can do. And that's always been my way. So going to America was just like, yeah, I think it's time to do that. Just like I jumped on a train at 13 and gone to Angie. So for me, going to America was just like another extension of what I did with Afro Sax, with the Bamaros, when I directed shows for you, Angie, where I did when I started Afro Sax with Larrington at 16, and I ran a theatre company at 16. I didn't have anyone telling me that it wasn't possible, because I knew it was possible. And I guess there must be something inside of me that likes to challenge, because maybe ancestrally I know that we've been challenged, so I just always like to push the envelope.
Do you think, Shaun, that you are born with that? Because, to be able to say to somebody, you can do whatever you want and you can achieve your dreams. Some people hear that all the time and don't believe it. They don't understand it. They don't have that process, that confidence, that faith. How do you instill that in someone? Because you both sound like you just had that thing that says, I can do this.
Yeah, you self-belief in your own ability is, it's a fuel which will take you as far as you want it to take you. I say to a lot of people, listen, we all had the same life chances. We all started on the same level playing field. And it's what you want to make with your life which is important. So, as I said to Trevor earlier, listen, we may sound like successful men, but, we've still got a long way to go. I've not finished my journey. That's why my book's called Chasing the Dream. And it's important to realise that as an individual, if you believe that you can do so, there's nothing to prevent you from doing so.
So what is your ultimate dream? What is that? Because we would look at you and say you're successful, you're doing well, everything's happy. What is it else that you would like to
My
achieve?
ultimate dream, hopefully, will outlive me. It's all about leaving legacies. I think it's important that people say, look, Shaun Wallace, he was successful. I want to be like him. And, I don't care how successful or rich I get, because mortality is a great leveler. When you're dead, you can't take the riches and fame with you. But if you can leave a legacy for other people to actually use as a blueprint for their own success, then my philosophy must have been correct.
Do you know what's really great? When I'm here listening to these guys, and yes, I know there's this feeling of really being special because they're from Northwest London, and we all went to school in Brent. And when I'm hearing about Elstone, I went to Wilson High, someone else went to Copeland, it just makes me realise that we just wasn't encouraged for our inner voice. But some people had that inner voice. So they were quite fearless. So they were moving forward. And, you become I was the first to go to university. And I didn't get it, but I just went. I didn't even understand how I was getting there.
In your family?
In my family, I was the first. And I think that one of the things that we did we had that determination, we had that confidence. And it's about the young people today knowing that you can be fearless, but be humble with it.
Yeah.
We spoke to Grace Ononiwu, Dr. Grace Ononiwu, OBE,
Yes.
and she said that her mother said something to her about not passing her exams, and she said that when her mother said, well, that's all you're worth, that stuck with her and as made her believe, actually, that's not what I want to be worth. I want something more in life. Yeah. Did anybody say anything to you that stuck with you? My teacher said I'd amount to nothing. And it stuck with me, and I wanted to go, you know what, although I'm this disruptive child, because I like to tell people I was disruptive. I like to tell people I'm dyslexic. I like to tell people that I did this in spite of that, and that they can do that too.
My school report said Shaun would make a very good clown. Shaun is very, very disruptive. Shaun will not amount to much. But it's important that when people who want to try and control your own destiny, if you allow them to control your own destiny, then you will be that failure. And if you allow them to basically say you are going to fail and use that as an excuse to fail, then you as an individual, right, are not using your own abilities, and you lack self-worth. And it's important to have that self-worth as an individual.
If you're not getting self-worth from your family, if you're not getting it from your school, look at the kids that are on the streets right now. Some of them are really in a very difficult place, and the choices, the options are not there for them because maybe parenting isn't as strong. Maybe the whole village to raise a child method that we had growing up is no longer there. How are we going to reach those young kids to say, listen, you don't know right now that you can be a really amazing person? How are we going to get, because we are doing our little individual bits, but how do we get to them on the mass?
Right, it's important, as I say, like people like myself and Treva, use our collective fame, use our abilities, because as I say, with fame comes responsibility, with power comes responsibility, and it's important. I always talk about the ladder of opportunity, so that's why it is a personal mission of mine, and I've been like that even before I was famous, to actually go into schools to basically say, look at me, you can be like me, but only better.
And that's what I like, the fact that there's this, the whole idea of there's always this hand behind you pulling someone up, pulling someone else up, rather than being in the ivory tower on your own. And I think with the Instagram world, the Twitter world, everybody wants to be famous and you're on your own. I just think we now have to start working collectively and collaborating, and that is the key.
Yeah.
And I think in America, living in America, I see that a lot more. They don't pull up the ladder as much. It's about getting to a place where you can drop the ladder and you can let another young or two or three youngster, climb. And I think that's why in America you see a lot more progression with people of color, and not just with black people, but Hispanics, with Asians, because they understand that the culture is about community and building it together. And without that, there is no commerce, there is no profit, there is no profit in your spiritual bank account, and there's no profit in your monetary bank account. So I always say to people that if you just put good karma in your bank account and you just keep believing that the good karma will keep your bank account gaining interest, when you make that withdrawal with that good karma, you're winning. But if you keep looking over your shoulder, talking negative, being not a good role model, not really learning, and I think the problem is that sometimes we think that just because we're of an age, we have to stop learning. And like Shaun said, I'm still a student. I mean, I haven't even started yet. There's still stuff that there's a zillion things I want to do that I haven't started yet. So, all the journey is telling me is that turn another page, Trev. Oops, this is a bad day. Okay, deal with that. Or turn another page. Okay, the sun's shining. And you just got to look at the good and the bad, and don't let the bad dictate who you are, because you've got too many people in this society telling you who they think you are. And if you buy that vision of yourself, it's over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that I work in a lot of organisations doing like leadership training and writing programs, and one of the programs that I'm just writing now is called Reveal. And a lot of people try to put on this clone, this different type of personality when you go into organisations, and what we've found in this room is that you're both yourselves. You're just being you. And when you're just you, you're going to win. And that's enough.
And that's when your talent will shine through, when you're yourself. When you use, be yourself, let your talent and ability shine through, not through some sort of fake facade.
Yeah, let's take some caller. Hi, who's calling? Hi Samantha, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Who would you like to speak to?
So I'd like to ask an acting question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yep, go
Hello,
ahead.
Samantha.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm alright. How are you?
So I just wanted to know, because obviously as an older person trying to get into the acting industry with no formal training, what kind of advice would you give?
Well, it depends on what kind of actor you see yourself being. Are you more of a comedian? Are you more of a musical kind of actor? You know, are you more of a serious? How do you see yourself?
I'd say comedian.
Ah, okay. So,
I like that.
well, no, that's good. I mean, Angie can tell you. I mean, we need comedians, and one of the things that you could do is, if you think that you're funny, then what you should do is you should write down your best jokes, and then you should do a little stand-up routine in front of your family and see how they respond to that. And then you should write a little bit more and do another stand-up routine in front of family and friends, and then start building your confidence. And if people start responding to your material, go out and go online and look for talent shows and see where they're doing shows at Hackney Empire or your local theatre or wherever. There's lots of talent shows, like, you know, those kind of shows where Simon Cowell is doing, like, you know, The Voice and America's Got Talent. They're always looking for new talent. And take your material and try it out in front of an audience and start building your confidence. And I would say, find what's unique about yourself. You know, if you've got a laugh, if you've got, you know, a funny walk, if you've got, like, you know, something interesting that you think people like, or people always say, you know what, Samantha, I like the way you do that, you know, that's really funny. If people keep commenting on something that you may think is a habit, but it actually makes people laugh, you can use that as part of your act. And then what will happen is that it'll be Samantha, the one who does handstands, or Samantha, the one who tells jokes on one leg. You know what I mean? And then you'll be known as Samantha, the comic who does jokes on one leg. And that's going to be how you start building your brand. And then once you start building your brand, the phone will start ringing and people want to start booking you because they have heard that you're funny. And word of mouth is the fastest way to get out there. Word of mouth.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good luck, Samantha.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's fantastic that you say that, because it is about building, and sometimes you don't actually know what you're building until you look back and realise that you've built a mountain, you know. And so it's sometimes to explain to people that it's a dream, but it's a slow build, and there's no rush, is there?
You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. That's a cliched expression, but it's so true.
And I think everybody wants to, we want it now. We want it now. And people don't know the journey. People don't know that. Most of us have had reports. I'm too overconfident. I'm too overconfident. I'm leading when I'm not supposed to be leading. And I will never be a careers advisor. I would never be in business. So when you have that, and then you are moving forward and you take your time to understand business, and you take your time to understand acting, understanding the industry, people just see you at the end when you're standing, speaking. You know, they see you at the end and they don't realise the journey. It takes time and effort, and sometimes you get tired. Today I was saying to Angie, I'm tired. I need some time to myself, but people don't see that the work that you put in. So everybody in this room is putting work in. And
is there spiritual? Treva, you spoke about spiritual. Shaun, spirituality. Is there that thing, that work that you do? Spiritual. Is there God? Is there universe? What is that thing that centers you?
What centres me is my belief in God, my belief in people who believe in me. That gives me the fuel and the platform to actually strive.
Treva?
Yeah, I believe in God, and I believe that we're all God. So if a child says something to me, I hear God speaking. And I think people forget that we all have God living inside of us, and that we don't have to sit in a church or go to some building or pray. All you've got to do is just think and love yourself, and you'll hear God.
Okay. And so when you're in LA and you're going through those difficult times where people do go under. You know, this is great stories that we're hearing today, and people go under and their expectation is so high and they want to make it, they want it so badly. Because right now we're looking at fame now, it seems so, it's dark. You know, there is a dark side to this entertainment world. There's a dark side to this wanting this success. And sometimes people are not finding that peace when they do get it. So look, what does success look like to you?
Well, you know what was interesting the other day? You know who re-emerged? Terence Trent D'Arby. You know, he's changed his name.
Yeah.
And he had a brilliant article the other day. He was on Good Morning Britain and he told that, you know, he kept himself out of the limelight. You know, he was fantastically, phenomenally successful compared to Michael Jackson. And he said that fame almost broke him, fame almost killed him. And he had to sort of, you know, reinvent himself in order to actually survive. And now he appreciates you know, what he's doing now. He'd looked back in relation to the sort of dark side of fame, which almost engulfed him. And it's made him stronger, wiser, and hopefully just as good as he was, if not better.
Do you think that there is a turnaround now with success and what people are starting to balance success as? So it's not just money, it's not just trying to be the CEO, but it's also having a sense of worth that is successful. To be peaceful is to be successful. We don't try and balance them up as the same thing.
Well, for me, you know, I never let fame control me. Not interested in fame controlling me. You know, if you are famous, you got to control the fame.
So if somebody walks up to you and go, "Are you that guy from the Chase?"
I'll always respond to them because you know what, and because if it wasn't for them watching, I wouldn't be successful. So they will always have my undying love and respect. If they ask me to sign an autograph, I'll do so. I don't find it intrusive because the people who approach me, they respect what I do. So that, you know, they're not horrible, they're not sort of vindictive, they're not petty. And I'm sure Trevor gets the same when people say they are proud, especially black people, they are proud to know that, you know, we are trying to make a difference.
Yeah, no, I agree. You had said something earlier, Shaun, about fame and failure being two imposters.
Of course they are, yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people in Hollywood go that way, and breaks my heart. I've had friends commit suicide and just go down that rehab way of just no return until somehow they wake up to the reality that there is more in themselves, that they can give more. And some come back and some don't. And like Shaun, I totally agree. I think that fame and fortune, it's an illusion, and people buy into the illusion because they're being fed all this reality show, money, nails, hair, car, you know, all that. And even the people who get into that, if you look at each and every story, it doesn't matter who they are, there is a point in all of that where if it's not MC Hammer, if it's not Michael Jackson, if it's not whoever, they all hit that place where they have to become self-reflective. Yeah. All of them.
Absolutely.
Because there's only so much hype that you can eat, and then you realize that your belly's empty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You couldn't put it even better, Trevor. That's brilliant.
I mean, I just want to start to wrap up now and just and thank you again, because it is celebrating Black History Month, and to be able to have you both in the studio to share your story. You know, people are messaging saying that they're getting such encouragement and inspiration from you guys just talking.
Maybe we should have our own show for the men show.
Maybe we should do. But as I say, I wouldn't want to actually produce such wonderful producers in Jackie and Angie.
No,
They're doing a great job.
Not at all.
They're doing a fantastic job.
They're gentlemen.
So you're off now. You're leaving us. You're going to.
Yeah, I go to LA tomorrow, and then I fly back on Thursday via London to Ghana, and I'm in Ghana for 2 weeks shooting this Netflix show. And then I go back to LA.
So when will that be out? What's the title?
It's called, right now, it's called Black Earth Rising, but I'm not sure if that's the title they're going to use. But it's starring Michaela Cohen from Chewing Gum, and John Goodman from Roseanne. And it's going to be, the guy who is producing it did a show that won a BAFTA last year for Maggie Gyllenhaal called The Honourable Woman. That's also on Netflix. So this is his follow-up project.
Fantastic. And Shaun?
Tomorrow I'm on the 6:15 doing my final Black History Month event in Brighton. Back up to London in court in the afternoon, and in the evening, because I quiz 4 nights a week, I'm taking part in the sort of Quiz League London team. Oh. And we're the reigning champions, by the way.
Oh wow, well done.
And Jackie, what are you up to?
Well, I'm doing my end of year coaching programs, preparing everybody for their career for 2018. So I'm busy doing that, and then I won't be here next month, Ange.
Because we're going.
I'm going cruising. I'm going on a Caribbean cruise, all being well. It's a holiday. Last time I went away, and you all made a little bit of fuss, it was business.
Yeah.
This one is a holiday. I'm going purely for relaxation and enjoyment.
Well, you've earned it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the other thing I want to say is that a friend of mine, her brother is ill with cancer, and they're doing a charity gig on the 8th of November in Brixton, and UB40 and Musical Youth are doing this gig for him. This guy called John Conqueror, he's played with the band, but he's very ill at the moment, so if anybody can look that up, it's at the Electric, is it Electric in Brixton?
Yeah.
So that's on the 8th of November, so I just wanted to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Dee, and her brother John, and if anyone can make it down to Brixton, that would be great, on the 8th of November.
And I'd like to say rest in peace to Dr. Psycho, who passed away.
Yeah.
It's just a sad time right now, and we just want to let you know that we are thinking of the family and everybody, friends and family, who know and just loved his work over the years, and just to say we're thinking of everybody involved around that whole feeling right now. It's a feeling right now that people are just being shocked every day that we're hearing some bad news and sad news, and so we don't know what life holds for us.
We don't.
So live your best life
And celebrate.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you join us next month. Sorry, like it's a weekly show, it's monthly. Join us next month. Jackie won't be here because she'll be on a Caribbean cruise. I'll be here. I don't know where the other ladies will be here today, but if not, I'll be trooping away. Kaylee and I will be going at it strong. Give a big round of applause to our producer.
Remember, happy birthday, Jasmine's mom.
Oh yes, 85 years, Jasmine. Your happy birthday to your mum.
And Billette, happy birthday to you last weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Angie.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week and enjoy your life. Live your best life.
Absolutely.
Angie Lamar on The Beat London, 103.6 FM.